Julia Frege, a psychologist based in San Francisco, said in a Washington Post article that post-grad depression is underreported because graduation is a lot like motherhood. Culturally seen as a seemingly joyful time, which makes it even more shameful for someone to admit that it's not. Hi, I'm back. If you didn't know, my name is Haydee. I do videos and stuff. And it's time for some really real updates. Of course, I don't have health insurance, nor do I have the money to afford therapy. So here I am to disclose my feelings on the internet. So let's talk about it. Post-grad depression.
I'll tell you how I'm doing. Not well, bitch.
Let's start off by defining what exactly is post-grad depression. Well, as it turns out, I can't exactly give you a textbook definition because it is not officially a medically recognized term. Even when you go look it up online, there's not much out there about it, but upon doing my research, I thought surely there's been so much research done, but to my surprise, I was led to multiple dead ends. In fact, the first time I ever heard the term post-grad depression didn't come from any supervisor or professor. It actually came from somebody that I knew who had just graduated college, and I remember thinking, damn, that sucks, that's never gonna happen to me. And yet here I am making this video wondering if the tassel was really worth the hassle, because if I'm being honest, it's not really looking like it at the moment. The piece of paper enclosed in this tube means nothing to me right now. I did, however, manage to find videos here on YouTube of people discussing their experience with post-grad depression, and something interesting that I found was that a lot of these videos were coming from people of color, which we'll get back to later. But before I continue, I want to preface the fact that I am not a licensed psychologist. I took like one psychology course in college. So I'm not here to like diagnose anybody or anything like that, or let alone tell somebody how to feel. I'm just here to share my little research and share my experience with y'all. In another article written by Itash Ismailova for Southern New Hampshire University, Ismailova cites the Addictive Behavior Reports medical journal, which says depression in young adults often occurs after completing college, and the pressures of finding a job and leaving that college lifestyle can be detrimental to mental health. And this makes complete sense. You go to school for like 20 years of your life and you're so used to this routine of being told what to do and when to do it, that when it's over, you're left with very few options, two of those being get a job or continue to pursue higher education. You quickly have to make that shift from student to working adult, and I think a lot of people can agree that it can be a lot to take in at once, and that's why I would even argue that post-grad depression even affects some high schoolers. For most people, including myself, continuing to pursue academia is not really a feasible option for me. And personally, going to grad school has never really been a part of my plan, and I don't intend to go into debt for it. I've looked into my options, and the type of career that I do want to have doesn't really require me to have a grad degree, at least not now anyway. Essentially, I just do not want to waste my time and money that I don't have just because it seems to be one of my only options right now. And I know that most people go to grad school because it seems to be their only option, and honestly, more power to those people. I wish I was you. Additionally, psychologists Joan Atwood and Corinne Schultz say that post-grad depression is accompanied by a quarter-life crisis in which 20-year-olds often feel a sense of desolation, isolation, inadequacy, and self-doubt coupled with a fear of failure. And I think a quarter-life crisis is more commonly known, but in case you're not familiar with the term, let's briefly go over it. Similar to a midlife crisis, a quarter-life crisis can happen, well, in the quarter of your life between your 20s and your early 30s. And it can occur when someone in this age range is feeling behind on major life events that seem to be happening all around them. For example, watching friends advance in their careers while you alone are stuck in a dead-end job, or something even more like you've seen everybody else start a family, getting married, and have kids, and overall just progressing in their life. And I can tell you right now that I am feeling all of that, except the part of getting married and having kids. That's like the last thing on my mind. Like, I'm not even thinking about that yet. It's not easy to admit that you're struggling when the world around you is telling you things like you should be celebrating and take full advantage of this time because you're never gonna have it again. And personally, I'm kind of hating myself for even being on this so-called break. While it was cute at first, it's now been about 4 months since I graduated and I've been unemployed since June, so... At some point, you really begin to question your entire self-worth, and rejection letters can really have a toll on you. And yes, I know that rejection is expected, and I probably expected it more than any other person, but after about like the 25th time, it really starts to kind of suck. At some point, I really began to question every decision that I did make in college and all the opportunities that I might have missed when I was a student. I knew the job market was going to be difficult for me. I fucking knew that. But as we all know, what it comes down to is your experiences and the connections that you have. Especially for me, because I do intend in someday entering the entertainment industry of some sort. So sure, I did grow a lot at my last job and I'm so grateful for the opportunities that I did get there, but I'm starting to question if I made the right decision by staying at that same job for almost 2 years, and I'm afraid the answer to that might be yes, I did play it a little too safe. I could have looked for more opportunities, gotten another job, joined more organizations, and done an internship, and then maybe I would have now been considered for a stable full-time job. Also, let me get this out of the way really quick, but I feel like people don't discuss how exhausting the job application really is nowadays. I mean, you have your resume and your cover letter, which constantly have to be edited in some way, and something that like really grinds my gears when applying for jobs online is that it'll tell you to submit your resume and then you still have to enter in everything manually, and eventually one job application alone can end up taking up to an hour to fill out, and then most of the time you won't even hear back from these employers. Which that alone can make you feel like you're just wasting your time. Like, please, I'm just trying to conform to this capitalistic society, but y'all won't even give me the chance. What's up with that? Okay, maybe now I'm just complaining, but I'm gonna keep doing it so if it bothers you. Literally nobody is forcing you to watch this. But speaking of capitalism really quick, I hate the fact that we are conditioned to believe that success and happiness has to come from these ideals like landing a dream job. But that's a completely different conversation for a different time, I think.
Yes, it's fuck capitalism, but I'm the child of immigrant parents. They didn't fly halfway across the world for me to be a broke bitch, so I gotta be a capitalist. I'm sorry, guys.
However, because some of us do equate success to landing a job, let's go over some quick stats regarding the employment or lack thereof for recent graduates. According to the Statista Research Department, the average unemployment rate for college graduates prior to the pandemic was anywhere between 3.5% and 4.4%, and those numbers just like skyrocketed as fuck last year. So by June 2020, the unemployment rate for recent college graduates was a whopping 12.9%. In addition, the people that financially suffered the most during the pandemic and the current economic crisis were Black and brown people. In fact, in April 2020, white unemployment peaked at 14.1%, while Black unemployment peaked at 16.7%, and Hispanic unemployment at 18.9%. Something interesting that I also found while doing this research was that women of color were among the most affected during these times, and gee, I wonder why that would be. But what does this all mean for recent graduates? Well, now recent graduates are not only competing amongst themselves for a job, but also with those that were left unemployed during the pandemic, which are also people that will likely have more experience and more connections than the average recent graduate. However, as the pandemic is slowly but surely coming to an end, there is some hope to look forward to. By December 2020, the unemployment rate for recent graduates dropped down to 7.6%, which is still nowhere near what it was before the pandemic, but like I said, that is some hope for y'all. Furthermore, depression does not always come in the feeling of being unmotivated. In fact, it can be the complete opposite. For some people, depression is masked by overworking as a distraction from underlying issues. Haydee Alonso is a graduate from the University of Texas El Paso and the Royal College Art of London. In 2019, Alonso spoke in a TED Talk about overcoming postgraduate depression, and I will link that video down below because she made some excellent points, but let me go over what stood out to me from her speech. Alonso says, "I was traveling, I was exercising, I was pretty much doing everything to distract me from the fact that I was not where I thought I would be." When she said this, I pretty much yelled and pointed at my screen because I was like, that's me! Stop it! Don't attack me like that! I like to consider myself a pretty self-aware person, so I do catch myself overworking, like I said, to mask everything. Like when I got laid off from my job last summer, I was so disappointed and so upset about it, but I knew something in me was telling me, don't stop progressing on your skills, like the world stops for no one. And so that's exactly what I did. I learned how to make Instagram filters and GIFs and made an online portfolio and basically did everything that I could to uplift my skills to make me more competitive in the job market, I guess. But, and there's a big but, there's those underlying issues, and for me that was that my savings were quickly running out and I was hitting double digits in my bank account so fast that it eventually became harder and harder to ignore. Now, I'm not saying that using this time wisely was not necessarily bad, but like Newton's third law of motion, what goes up must come down, and boy did I crashed, bitch. I fell, Eventually, I found myself in a very deep slump, sleeping all day and staying up all night and not being productive whatsoever, which is not like me at all. I'm a night owl. I like to do everything at night. I would leave everybody on red. I didn't answer any emails. I didn't want to talk to anyone, and when I did talk to someone, it took like all the energy out of me. I quickly started to distance myself from everyone around me, including my family, because I just couldn't bear hearing the questions that were like, what are you doing now? Are you applying for jobs? What jobs have you applied to? You should go to grad school. I've mentioned before the immense pressures that a first-generation college student, or in this case, a first-generation college graduate, face. And for me, it became so hard to face my parents because I did not want them to think that I am failing so quickly. Thankfully for me, my parents have been very patient, and I am so grateful for that, honestly. Needless to say, I felt completely defeated, and the current state of the world was not helping whatsoever. Graduating college in the year 2020 was just my fucking luck. I mean, I haven't had a proper graduation probably since kindergarten, because fun fact, my high school graduation was being held outside, and there was a thunderstorm that afternoon, and it was just a complete mess. And I remember thinking then, who cares about this one? It's the college one that matters for me. Talk about jinxing something 4 years in advance, am I right? So I didn't get to walk the stage for my bachelor's degree and get that handshake and be bored in my seat with everybody else. And what was supposed to be a celebration was reduced to a computer screen that did not give the sense of closure that a commencement is supposed to entail. Additionally, I've been seeing a lot of discourse on social media lately about why Americans are so obsessed with the college experience, and I feel like having a great college experience can also play a role in the post-graduation slump. And the take I like on this topic came from one TikTok user at Michigoth, in which they say that Americans are so obsessed with the college experiences because deep down we know that we might not ever again get that sense of community that we do when we are in college. Furthermore, they go on by saying that after college we are forced to be complete individuals for the first time probably ever in our lives, that we end up losing all sense of communal living as well as those services that were more easily obtainable for students. I do realize, however, that this is unfortunately not the reality for a lot of students, especially now in the age of COVID. I am so lucky that I at least got to go almost 4 years to college and get that college experience that I wanted. Also, the fact that businesses like Amazon, Spotify, Microsoft, and Adobe Creative Suite just strip you of those student discounts, and all of a sudden you find yourself paying full price for everything again. It's just so annoying. Oh my god. I had completely forgotten I was even in these discount plans until it charged me full price, and I was like, that's how much Spotify costs monthly. Even universities kind of tell you to fuck off, but I mean, that makes sense because, I mean, you're not paying like tuition anymore. But get this, not too long ago I went to the university library and I couldn't even use the Wi-Fi. I couldn't even sign in to use it. But you know what? These memberships are like whatever. There's ways around to keep these memberships, but for legal reasons, I am joking. I pay full price to type a few words, definitely. So overall, I think that post-grad depression shouldn't be a taboo topic to be discussing even while you're in college, because the sad reality is that a lot of college graduates will face this critical point in their life, and I think there should be resources available to help them get through this. So in case you're wondering what I've been doing to combat these troubling times in my life, I've been doing a lot of things. For example, I've been journaling for the past year and I found that to be extremely helpful for me. What's funny is that a lot of my hobbies used to revolve around being a student. So for example, I used to do a lot of bullet journaling and I was a part of that study community with the pretty notes and everything. And unfortunately, I can't do that now because my life isn't as busy anymore, and of course I'm not a student. But I just couldn't let go of stationery overall, so something that I did to keep that crafty side of me going was start pen paling, which is something that I've been wanting to do for so long, and I've been secretly running a Instagram pen pal account. So if you're interested in that, you can go check it out. I'll link it down below. I've also been reading for fun recently, which is something that I haven't done since probably junior high. I've recently read Little Women by Louisa May Alcott and also Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. Two good books, I highly recommend them. Aside from that, I've also rediscovered my love and hate relationship with going to the gym, but I'm so proud of myself because I've been going consistently almost every day for the past 2 months, I believe, so there's that. And lastly, I'm so excited to finally start hanging out with some of my friends, some of whom I haven't seen in almost a year, which is great because most of us should be fully vaccinated by the time this video comes out, including myself. Don't worry, we're not going to clubs or anything. I don't think I'm exactly there yet. I pretty much lost all sense of social skills. And above all else, I've just been trying to reconnect with my creative side because I felt like I've lost a big sense of that over the past few months. So that's why this video is coming to be, because I honestly felt like editing a video. So this video actually took an embarrassingly long amount of time to do because I was so hard to get all my thoughts together, because like I said before, I was feeling all those feelings of unmotivated, and I couldn't do it. But I'm here now. And I really wanted to make this video because I wanted to raise awareness of what might be the unfortunate side of life after college. And hopefully anybody going through this point in life knows that they are not alone and that it does get better. At least I hear. I'll let y'all know. So I don't expect any handouts from anybody. I know that there's still a lot of hard work to be put in from myself, and I will continue to do that, along with my daily affirmations, which I've actually found to be very helpful. I recommend y'all try it. To be completely honest with y'all, I am so tired of looking at the bright side of things, but that doesn't mean I'm gonna stop anytime soon, because like Paramore once said, there is that last hope, and although it is just a spark, it's enough to keep me going. And on that note, thank you guys so much for watching. Help my brain produce dopamine by liking, commenting, and subscribing. I really want to hear you guys' thoughts on this video. Start a discussion down below. I really want to hear if anybody else has gone through this themselves and how they overcame it. Oh, and also my links are down below for my Instagram and Twitter if you want to check that out. But until next time, I'll see you guys later.